Why do you think it's hard to be vulnerable as a black woman?
It's like hard now because like I feel like you've like read me so well that I feel like you already know what I'm gonna say.
Before we continue, this woman right here is the Azhani Tealer. Black woman, dominant collegiate volleyball athlete, SEC and national champion, and most importantly, my friend. Moments before she answers a question most people wouldn't believe you would be asking her.
I think also in different spaces it changes, but especially for me being here, being vulnerable here as a black woman is like, I don't like for things to feel like they're going to be used against me. So, and I don't even know how to explain that, but it's like, I feel like if I tell this person this, like they're going to find a way to throw it back in my face or it's going to make me look weak or something like that. And I feel like as black women, we're not allowed to be weak a lot of times. We have to be strong, and we're not allowed to be meek or anything like that. And so for me, when it feels like being vulnerable turns into that, I feel like I can't be that, you know?
So with that being said, like when growing up, like who was your example of like a strong black woman?
My mom for sure, and that's cliche. I have a lot, but my mom, she like how she's like kind of turned her life, like how she grew up and what was expected of like her family and how they've all kind of gone about their lives and how she's changed what she's done now is like pretty incredible. And how she goes about treating her family, how she's raised me and my brother, her marriage, like how she's handled all that is like really admirable. And so she's awesome.
So what were some expectations that you had? What expectations did you feel like were on you growing up?
I like that you rephrased it because I feel like a lot of times the expectations that we think other people have from us like just come from ourselves. But the expectations that I thought that I had were I thought I had to like win everything. Like growing up, I was an athlete at every sport. I was the best, and not even like win. Like my team won, but like if I wasn't the best, like it wasn't good enough. I thought that I was expected to be like the smartest in my class or like have the best grades and kind of like uphold this character of like being, and not that I'm not or I wasn't, but like happy all the time and funny and kind of being that person in groups. That's kind of what I thought was expected of me. I think those expectations came from my parents were like, they love me, like they really do, and they're great parents, but they have high expectations for me, and they're like pretty vocal about it. And in the same way, like they were like pretty stern about like how I was going to like become what they thought that I wanted to become. And not that those things are different, some of them are, but I don't like letting people down. That's like just like shit. I don't like letting people down or making people feel like their work is kind of going in vain. And so like my parents like worked really hard for me to be in the position that I am now. And if, you know what I mean? Like if I'm not doing what I feel like is going to make them happy, that sounds so horrible, but it feels like that expectation, those are heavy.
Yeah, first of all, I want to affirm you said like that's real.
Yeah. But all the expectations as a black woman kind of change in the spaces you're in also. Like people say it all the time, but like we have to work 2 times as hard to like get halfway as far. And so in the classroom, I feel like I have to be locked in and zoned in. If the white girl's getting an A, like I got to get an A, like a B is not going to suffice. And like in sports, like I have to be the rowdy one, like go-getter. And a lot of times, like, I don't have that in me. Like, that day, that week, whatever. Like, around some groups, I'm expected to be a certain kind of way. Around my parents and my family, I'm supposed to be this kind of way. And there's just, like, a lot of expectations that come with that. Yeah.
Okay. So you have all these like expectations on you, and then that's for sure like hella overwhelming, right? What was like your breaking point when everything? Actually, before we even get to that, why do you think you didn't feel comfortable being vulnerable and opening up to anybody?
Kind of feel like I have this like image to uphold, and like to be honest, and not like toot my own horn or anything, but like let me rewind. A lot of people think that I am this like kind of person. Like I would like to think of myself as like very authentic. Like what people get is like what is true, and like I would like to think I'm really nice and thoughtful and like smart and like just like a genuinely good person. And there are things in my life that like don't reach that standard, like as everyone. And so like when I feel like those things, I don't want them to come to light because I don't want people to think less of what they actually do think of me that I like to think is true.
So you said you had this image that you feel like everybody saw you as, and like when it came to like bad things, you didn't want to come out, you didn't want those to come to light. Why do you think that stuff would change how other people saw you?
That's crazy. I don't know because now you say that like I don't think differently of those people when they tell me like the same kind of stuff. So it's not really fair for me to think that of myself, but I do. I don't know.
So, with that being said, right, what stopped you from being vulnerable with different people?
Like with my parents and a lot of stuff that like I like should tell them or wanted to tell them or haven't or whatever. Just like I said earlier, like letting them down. Like I don't want them to feel like, and I don't like there's like not a lot of problems in my life. Like I'm extremely blessed, but like things that like I feel like affected my adult life now, I don't want them to feel like it's their fault, or I don't want people. Another thing is what I really hate. I don't like feeling like coddled or like feeling like I need help, you know? Dang, that's a whole nother layer. But like,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
So,
When you
still
answer,
look
look
Nigel
at me.
for it.
Yeah.
Still look Nigel
When you
for
answer.
it, but it feels like you can never say and. You always have to. You can never. It feels like you can't allow two things to exist at once for what they are without having to morally justify something. So it seems like a lot of times when you're talking about what's happening to you and how it's affected you, you have to justify why it's happening to you. So you're like, my parents are great, but you know, like this happened. It could be my parents were great and they caused a level of stress on me as a child. Do you feel like you can't allow those two things to happen at once? Or why do you feel like you put yourself in this box when it comes to specifically putting something moral towards like what's happening to you?
I think part of that is like I am an extremely loyal person and I love my parents and I don't want people to think less of them because of like bad stuff that's happened to me that could be because of them, could be because of like how I've handled it, handled certain things in my adult life. So like I definitely realize the justification piece. Like every time I do it, I'm like, why? But like every time I know it's like, 'cause I don't want people to think like, dang, she has shitty parents, or wow, her family did a bad job doing this, or her people did a bad job doing this. And that's definitely why, but I don't know where that comes from.
No, that's true. I think a lot of people do that because we don't want to. We understand the sacrifice that they took, and we acknowledge that, and we don't want people to look at it negatively because usually we see people always go to the negatives and put it on everybody. And to like piggyback off that from like a personal standpoint,
when it comes to not even like just your parents, like friends, everybody around you, why do you feel like you couldn't always go to them, but they can always come to you?
Should I like be paying you guys for a therapy session right now? Like, I don't. Do you guys need like my health insurance? I don't even know. That's so funny. That's a really good question. Can you ask it again?
Yeah. So why do you feel like people can always come to you and talk about whatever, but you don't feel comfortable going to the same people that you consider like friends, family, whoever? Why do you feel like you can't go to them about what you go through?
Can we come back to that one? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. So what I want you to do now is just kind of like walk me through kind of like that breaking point for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that moment of like really just starting to a place of like if you were going through all of this and then you got to a place where like it just all came out.
Yeah. So like maybe like 2 years ago now. Last year, I'm not. It was sometime in like the winter, probably last year, and just there was a lot going on with my family. School stuff was going on. Like, I changed my major. My parents didn't know I changed my major. They had this idea that I was like gonna be a doctor. It was like not happening. There was like a lot of stuff that I was keeping to myself. A lot of stuff that I was keeping to myself that I like didn't want anyone to know because I didn't want to talk about it. And like all of it just like piling up on top of stuff that like I was keeping to myself that I didn't even really care about. Like I just didn't talk about it. And there's this one night specifically where I was like just like broke down. Like I didn't even know what I was like crying about at that point. I was just like crying and I don't know why. And just like that same night, just talked to one of my best friends, like probably until like 4 a.m. about like everything that was going on. And the relief that comes from that, like physically actually is like pretty insane. But there was just like so much that I was keeping to myself that it like weighs on you.
What did you learn from that?
Like, it's okay to like, for one, it's okay to like not be okay. Like there are people that want to help you, and like help you sounds like a transactional thing, but not even help you, just like be there for you and help you through it when you need that. And I know that, you guys know that, but like seeking it is different than like knowing that it's there. And I don't know, like that was like the first time, like everyone's always said like you just can't bottle everything up, you can't bottle everything up, all this stuff. And like that was the first time I've actually felt it, like I can't do that again. Like that was like, I was not, like it affected every other area of my life. Like volleyball was bad. I did not want to be on the team anymore at that point. Like I wanted to go home. School was bad. Like how I treated other people was bad. And it was just like affected all parts. And so I think I'm much not like there's still things that I don't talk about that I know I should, but I think I'm much quicker to bring stuff up when I know that it should be.
What steps do you do, or what like, almost like how do you take care of yourself? Like what steps do you do to like take care of yourself to make sure you're not like bottling everything up?
I write stuff down a lot, and that's like really new for me because I've never been the journaling type. Like maybe it's like 5th grade and like the journal like locks, you know, maybe then, but like I've never been that type of person. But like writing stuff down really helps. And once I write it down and I figure out like what it is that like I need to talk about, because sometimes it's like there's this general thing that's going on, but like there's like pieces of it that like I don't even know how to deal with this. And so figuring out like because still like I'll tell my friends now, like they know, like don't ask me that, like I don't want to talk about it, like I'm not going to talk about it. But like there are some things I'm like, I kind of do want to talk about that. And a lot of times I want to talk about it, but I don't want to be the one to bring it up. Like I'll be okay to talk about it if you ask me about it. And that happens more often than me going to someone being like, hey, I want to talk about this. But writing it down, and I just have like, I really like now like know who my people are, and it's going to change. I'm going to meet new people growing up, but like I know who my people are, who I can go to and be like, hey, this is happening, or this just happened, whether it's good or bad. Like I'll even keep like good things to myself, and I do know why, but yeah.
I want you to know, you're doing a really great job.
Thank you so
I want
much.
you to know that.
Okay.
It's like a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let you know, like, you're doing an absolute great job.
Thanks.